Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to review the movie Solo. This is Dulquer Salman's latest movie and probably the first Malayalam movie that I'm reviewing on time on the weekend of its release because it has a worldwide release, which is why we get to see it. And I'm glad and I hope that this keeps happening with Malayalam movies, at least the big ones, so we can get to see it on time. But this is one of the most unique movies of the DQ. It is directed by Bijay Nambiar. It has a huge star cast, and we are going to speak in detail about it. This is going to be a detailed analysis, review, discussion, everything about Solo. But first, let me give a quick roundup of the movie for those of you looking for a short answer. Now, this is a DQ fest, okay? It is a DQ fest, it is a DQ feast, it is a DQ everything. It is DQ, 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 DQ all the way. So if you guys are fans of Dulquer Salman and you love watching him on screen, this is an unbeatable and uncomparable experience. There is so much Dulquer Salman in this movie that you might not want to see him for another 5 years. I'm just kidding, or maybe another 5 months. But you know, it's that much DQ, so it's an absolute treat for people who love watching him on screen. And this movie, I must say, puts him in the league of actors who are considered to be fantastic, unbelievable, superb, natural, talented like hell. And he is incredible. Up until this movie, he had an image, the typical boyfriend image, cool guy, boy next door, t-shirt wearing, confused character, young guy, ambitious, all of those kind of characters, which with passing time he's been trying to change and evolve. And in this movie, he successfully diminishes and completely breaks all those characters and images that he had, and he delivers a performance like never ever before. He is a treat. There is no comparison for his acting in this movie. He is fantastic. So definitely for all the DQ fans, you have to watch this movie and then of course make your own judgment about how the movie was. But it is a treat. On the visual level, it is stunning, technically brilliant, amazing cinematography, lot of planning gone into place because of the themes that the movie tackles in each segment, which is related to fire, earth, wind, water. So all of that has been taken into account while making the movie to make each segment look exclusive, each segment look related to the theme, each segment look beautiful, stunning on an international level in scale. It looks amazing, and so the technicals are absolutely brilliant. Now, regarding whether this movie is enjoyable, entertaining or not, we have to get into spoilers and discuss it in detail. So spoiler alert for everyone. Let's go one by one into this movie, one story at a time, and understand it. Overall, this movie is basically connected loosely because it has attached the kind of animations of Shiva and the whole thing about Shiva and the four characters and the four names of Shiva, which kind of gives the movie a theme, which I personally felt really didn't matter at all to the stories or to the characters. And so maybe because I don't have a great understanding of Shiva, the Lord Shiva and his characters, but I didn't feel that that impacted the movie. So if you took out those animations and that whole point of it being about related to Lord Shiva, it wouldn't have made a difference to the stories and the movie in any way, according to me. Secondly, each movie is linked in a very kind of very kind of minimalistic way of each, in the way that each story is told over 4 years. So that's common across all four stories. Each story has an accident involved. Either it's a real accident or a kind of metaphoric accident, accidental relationship, by accident, accidental event, etc. But the theme of accident is constant throughout the movie. The theme of loss is there throughout the movie, loss of a loved one, loss of a relationship, etc. And the title Solo is apt because the main character in every story ends up being solo or being alone on his journey, and so that's why the name of the movie is Solo. So these are the basic themes that are captured. Of course, there are many more small touches, like every story ends on a happy image, every story kind of begins with the theme that is tackling of nature. So these are the basic elements that kind of are common in this movie to make it look like one movie. But honestly, these are really, like, for me it was not really a great kind of thematic structure to put for a movie, so I didn't enjoy that part either. But this was what we just spoke about, was all about just the themes of the movie and how it comes together, and not we are not really talking about the movie yet. So now let's go and speak about the movie one by one. Let's begin with World of Shekhar. This to me was the fourth best story in the movie, and as I said in my trailer reaction, it was the third teaser and it was third on the list, and now in the movie it is the fourth on the list, because it has nothing to offer. It is completely bland. The relationship, the love between the two, Dansika and DQ, are not really built up very well. The fact that it fluctuates between back and forth between the current and the past, or whatever is going on, is also very hindering to the whole element of the relationship building up. And the campus story, which it starts off with, instead of building it up nicely, it goes back and forth, it starts switching gears, and it really gets disconnected from the viewer. And so I honestly didn't enjoy the movie. The twist that comes also is kind of very predictable, at least for me. I saw that coming. In fact, I knew at one point what was going on. So for me, that was not at all a good twist. And so overall, this whole theme of water also seemed a little exaggerated in terms of World of Shaker, because every time they were near water, that just didn't make sense after a point. Every time they were in water, they are in water, they are by the water, they are on the beach, they are near the swimming pool, they are dancing on water. And it's raining, it's just way too much water, and it seemed very forced that, oh, we are making a water thing, so let's put water everywhere. I don't think that really worked in favor of the story. It doesn't help the story, and that's why it seemed distinct from the story. And so that didn't work at all for me. So this first story didn't work at all for me, and in fact I was just waiting for the second story to begin, because I was completely spaced out in the first story, and that is not a good sign for an anthology film, that your first story is the weakest story. But one can only hope that the stories get better. And that does happen, because moving on to the next story, The World of Trilok, this was outstanding. It was the best story for me, not only in this movie, but one of the best stories overall. It was generally absolutely well made, and DQ's performance is fantastic. He completely nails the character. It is unbelievable how well he does in this particular story. You forget that you're watching DQ. In fact, up until the last story, you actually just forget you're watching DQ all over throughout the movie. You're just watching the movie, watching these characters come to life. So he's nailed it, and especially you realize this when Trilok comes on screen, that he's completely nailed this character. And even the character depiction is absolutely fantastic. The story is fantastic. The way it builds up and the way the twists are revealed is absolutely fantastic. It is satisfying. It is pleasing. It is amazing from the word go. It also has Renji Panikkar in a small role, and he's really improving in terms of acting. I've seen a lot of Malayalam movies, so when I see the older movies, I can see that he's very casual in approach, or just having smaller roles and stuff. Up until I saw Godha, he stole the whole movie like Godha. So he's basically improved absolutely a lot in when it comes to acting. And in this movie also, in that one scene, small role that he has in The World of Trilok, he's really nailed it. So he's done a great job in this movie too. Now, what again works in The World of Trilok is the fact that the wind element, which is what The World of Trilok is based on, is not shoved into your face. It's not thrown into your face. In fact, it's just there in the background with clothes flying, hair flying, stuff like that. Nothing very kind of in your face like The World of Shaker, where water was everywhere, like what the hell is happening. So this was again something that worked for the movie. There's also this kind of thing, I was thinking about what more windy elements have they used, because it doesn't seem a lot, but it kind of it's symbolic that Trilok was kind of like a light breeze, like a nice breeze, but then he becomes like this hurricane, tornado kind of thing because of the change of events. So that's symbolic in a way, but these are too much in-depth details and philosophy to get into. But generally, World of Trilok was absolutely enjoyable and leaves you at the interval point with an extremely high note, expecting more from the second half. In the second half, it starts with the famous and the most accepted and most anticipated World of Solo, and it's outstanding in terms of visual brilliance. It is amazing. The film has a red fiery look. The fire element that is tackled is completely in sync with the story, not only with the cinematography and the sets and everything, which is red, but also with the character of Shiva, which is DQ's character, of course, who is very angry, who's very much on fire. He's on a rage. So that particularly works really, really well. Manoj K. Jayan, when he comes on screen, I literally tweeted immediately. I didn't want to use my phone in this movie, but when he came on screen, I couldn't resist. I was like, damn, this guy is good. So he just gave me goosebumps with just his first appearance. He's singing a song, he's smiling. He's a talent, and I don't know why I don't see him in a lot more movies, but he's absolutely incredible and a great presence to this story. There's also Prakash Belavadi, who's usually stereotype cast in those stereotype roles for what his character suits. But over here, that kind of character roles that he usually plays comes across extremely powerful, and he delivers as well. There are two actresses in this movie. Shruti Hariharan was a Kannada actress who's done a great job, but her role is really not well written at all. And Sai Tamankar, who's a Marathi actress, who's again has a very small role. So up until now, we see that in this story, the women don't have a role at all, and even in World of Trilok, the actress doesn't have a role at all. But World of Solo works. The twists are good enough for a movie that is technically so brilliant, and you're fine with it. What you expect from the teaser of World of Solo is what you actually get in the movie. So it is satisfying in that way because you don't expect it to be something else. You get what is promised to you. Then we move on to the world of Rudra, which is the most controversial part in this movie right now, and that is firstly because many people in USA we don't have much people in the theater, so it's not a big of a deal. But in India, I heard and I read all over that people were laughing in the theater at the end of this movie when the twists were revealed for the world of Rudra, and because of that kind of response, the makers have actually changed the climax. I don't know what the new climax is, but it is pretty bizarre. I mean, this is just crazy. Like, okay, I'll speak about the change in climax later and everything else later. Let's speak about World of Rudra and wrap that up. World of Rudra is again the typical DQ character where he's cool, he's kind of angry all the time and confused, and he's has a girlfriend and he's looking damn cool and his girlfriend is looking damn cool and they are all in a high society kind of a thing. So all of those typical elements of DQ are played, the love story element, and then as a hero he goes and does XYZ, and there are ABC twists are revealed which the audience found funny. For me it wasn't funny. For me a lot of it was just not well presented and not well made in a sequential order, and so the logic of the whole story went for a toss in this movie. So rather than just being funny, I didn't laugh when the twist came. I was actually like, this doesn't make any sense because A B C D E F happened and now you're telling me that XYZ is happening. So for me the whole presentation was completely terrible in terms of what the plot twists are. So this particular story made no sense at all. However, the Earth elements are definitely shot and brought in very intelligently because he's an army officer. All those blasts that it begins with are beautiful. One of the most beautiful blast scenes that I've seen in the training sequences. They are also kind of doing the pottery sculptures, so which is like being close to earth with the mud and stuff like that. All those kind of things are portrayed in, which is really very intelligent, I feel, and very well made, very naturally. So again, it's not in your face like the first story, World of Shaker. And I think that was the only story where the element of water doesn't seem to be in connect or in tandem with the story or the characters at all. It just seems very forced. But otherwise, the elements were put in fairly well. Now, all these elements, I have no idea what they have to do except in World of Solo, wherein fire had a direct implication of rage and heat and hot-headedness and anger and all of that. These particular elements didn't have anything to do with the story. It didn't improve the story, it didn't help the story. So if they were non-existent or if we didn't know about them, we wouldn't really realize it's based on themes. We would just be watching it and leaving the theater without knowing. Now moving on to the whole new development of the climax tweak. First of all, I don't know what the tweaked climax is, so if any of you guys have watched it or do watch it, definitely come back and leave your comment here as to what that is, because I'm definitely not going to watch this movie again just for a changed climax. Also because I don't believe in changing climaxes. It's really not a fun thing to do for a director or for a filmmaker. Just because the audience has reacted in a certain way, you change it and present it again. That's not so-called sportsman spirit is lacking in that kind of element. But yes, the audience is very happy with the climax change, that the climax has been changed. The makers have said that they change it to respect the audience's opinion and give them a more kind of acceptable film, but definitely I don't think the climax change will be a major thing. So it might be a minor tweak because you can't change the story of Rudra, you can't change what it has been made for. There might be one or two funny dialogues or scenes that they might have shot in a different way or not shot at all, and they might edit it out. Stuff like that might be the tweaks that they do in World of Rudra. But otherwise the film can't be changed anyway, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I definitely don't appreciate, and forget about me appreciating the change or not, it doesn't matter. I'm nobody to appreciate or criticize a change in a movie. My worry here is how the makers might feel. Like they might, like Bijoy Nambiar might be so messed up right now. Like it will be like, I presented this big movie that I made, took so much effort to make 4 movies, bilingual, like making 8 movies, as he said in all his interviews. After brainstorming 10 stories, they came up with 4 stories that they wanted to make. After brainstorming all possible endings and twists, they must have come up with these twists, presented it, made it ready for a worldwide release, and the audience now reacts in such a way that the maker has to be like, damn, I should have included the other thing or the other idea, and then he has to change it. Oh man, it's just a mess. I can't even I don't even want to think about how the makers feel right now, but they've done what they have to do. To the surprise, the first half, the 2 stories of Trilok and Shekhar are actually really good performances from Dulquer Salman. It's just so convincing. In fact, I don't even remember, like while watching it, I remember thinking that, oh my god, it's actually Dulquer Salman. Like, oh shit, like I can't see that star in this movie, even in a World of Shiva. And that's really important for a director who kind of taking out the star from an actor and just leaving that actor for us to watch, and it was just brilliant. So definitely a finest performance. Again, what I said at the start is valid, that the technicals are brilliant, the music is fit in really well. Many of you guys have loved the albums, it's fit in extremely well in the movie. I'm not really a fan of most of the songs because they are pretty carnatic and kind of weird for me, but yeah, those songs are a hit except Rashomon, which I like, but in the movie it wasn't effective. It comes in too late. You're, by the time you reach there, you're just like losing a little patience for that particular story because it's one of the weaker stories in the script. So the film has its ups and downs and lefts and rights, and with the whole climax streak, it doesn't help the image of the movie also, because it just makes the original product a little kind of below average, and so you tweak the climax to make it at least above average or acceptable. So those are the things that are affecting this movie. There's also the strike in Tamil Nadu, which I think the movie got pulled down in Tamil Nadu after one day, so that doesn't help either. But a lot of ups and downs, pros and cons in this movie, but it's definitely something you can't avoid because you want to watch Dulquer Salman's finest work to date. You want to watch him in 4 different roles in a very unique film, which is technically brilliant, technically showcased very well, and the amount of technical showcase that it has, it, and the beautiful music and the beautiful performances, the stories are fine for that level. You can't expect every department to be 5 stars, although the story is the only department that needs to be 5 stars, but nevertheless it all compensates, and so there are highs and lows. So I'm going with 3 stars. The reason I'm giving it 3 and not something below 3 is because of the strong technicals, the beautiful blend of music, the unbelievably outstanding performances in this movie that take this movie up from a lower rating to 3 stars. But I know that this movie is not a cup of tea for everyone. In fact, it's not even my cup of tea when it came to, for example, World of Shaker. Like, I was, for the first opening of the movie, losing patience for the first time, like sitting through that story. So definitely keeping all this in mind, I feel that 3 stars is an apt review to give, apt rating to give for this movie. You guys, let me know what you thought of this movie. Leave your comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm sorry if the review was so long. It was 4 movies. Yeah, there are 4 movies I'm reviewing. Yeah, so it had to be that long. But yeah, definitely like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave your comments. Let me know what the new climax is, and take care. Keep watching.